Obama backs Planned Parenthood, and Benghazi opens up again. That, and how about laughing your way to a better marriage? Honey, quiet. Your chance to win tickets next.
Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, welcome. 4 minutes after the hour on the 30th day of April in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is The View from a Pew. Good afternoon on a Monday that is going to just, I don't know. What's the old saying? If you don't like Iowa's weather, hang around. We are supposed to be somewhere around 82 or 83 today, dropping tonight into the 40s for a high tomorrow. And they're talking about rain Wednesday night mixed with snow into Thursday morning. I don't even think Ed Wilson could make sense of that. But if you, like I said, if you don't like Iowa's weather, just stick around. It'll change quick enough. Today, we're going to talk about 4 or 5 different subjects, including this mother-son who discussed jihad. This is the older brother who is now dead from the Boston bombing, and his mother. The press is trying to turn this into a political agenda bombing. It's not. It's a religious agendaed bombing. But the government's going to do whatever they can to make sure we know, believe, are brainwashed into believing that America is safe. And under the Obama administration, there has been no terrorist attacks on American soil. Let me see here. There's Benghazi, there's Boston. Well, okay, anyway, we'll move on. So that's one of the topics that we're going to talk about today. Also, Benghazi hearings to finally resume. Finally, are we going to find out the truth on that? And then Mr. Obama has blessed Planned Parenthood, an organization that was started by a woman who thought blacks were 5/8 of a citizen, thought they should be eliminated from the face of the earth. And that's why she started Planned Parenthood. It was a racist, killing machine. And our president supports it. Now, remember, if you disagree, your voice is always welcome. 1-855-244-0077. Write it down. Ryan will put it on the screen and leave it there. 1-855-244-0077. It is your voice we want to hear. But first, let's laugh. Can you laugh out loud? I don't have a fake laugh. My fake laugh is this. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, it's that terrible broken record. Do I have a real laugh? My wife would say my real laugh is, and nobody hears it because she complains I don't laugh enough, out loud at least. So I end every sentence that I type to her on social media. LOL, LOL, L capital O, capital O, L capital. Lori Homer is here from Point of Grace. You guys are going to have a church filled with laughing people this weekend.
That's right.
Mark Gungor, spelled Gungor, who is a world-renowned speaker. And is he a marriage counselor?
He's actually a pastor.
Okay.
And he does these marriage conferences full-time now.
All right. Travels the world, and his the title to it is Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. It's coming up this Friday, May 3rd, 7 to 10 on Friday night, and then you'll go back Saturday morning, 9 to noon. So can you invest 6 hours into your marriage? Now, I know what you're, thinking. $50 a couple, by the way, so it's dirt cheap. I mean, it's like, $12.50 a night. I don't even think you can get into a movie for that. But I know what you're thinking. Well, I'm not. I mean, if I go there, I'm admitting that I need help on my marriage. And I don't need help on my marriage. Oh, really? 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 So you serve your wife like Christ serves the church. And you are completely supportive and submissive to your husband's needs. I mean, that's what the Bible says. I'm just saying that if you're going to be married, and maybe perhaps you want to be in a civil union, I want to be married under the grace of God and the light of Jesus. So the Bible teaches us perfectly how we're supposed to be. And actually, I would tell you that if I walked into a marriage seminar and I saw you and your spouse, I'd say, good for you. Good for you for wanting to pick up extra credit. Good for you wanting to, come out and say, it's not that we need help. We just want to be better. And who doesn't want to be better? Now, you've heard this guy, right?
Yes. And I want to let you know that Mark says it's the marriage conference for people who hate marriage conferences.
Okay. Like, what are some of the things he talks about?
Well, he's really good at explaining the difference between men and women and how they're wired and how God's made them differently in a really funny kind of way.
Okay. Because we are made differently.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, the first time I ever read that book, what is that, Venus and Mars and stuff, I thought, that's not. And then you'd go another page.
It's true.
And another, yeah, it really is.
Like you have a nothing box that us women don't have. Did you know that?
I have a nothing box?
A nothing box.
What's nothing box?
It's the place where guys go.
Oh.
To do nothing.
Oh, I resemble that remark. Mm-hmm. And women don't have a nothing box?
No, we don't.
Really?
No.
What
all of our boxes are open all the time.
Okay.
Multitasking, thinking about everything. Everything's emotional. Everything's connected to everything else.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
we're a lot more complicated.
You're like a big bowl of spaghetti.
That's right.
And then us guys come along and we put the red sauce on it and mix and try to mix everything up together.
Sometimes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so the other thing that I think so different about men from women is, and this took me so long to learn, and I can quite frankly remember the day in the bedroom when my wife and I were discussing out loud, or I mean loudly, and she looked at me and she said, "Don't you know that your words are powerful?" And I thought, what do you mean my words are powerful? My words are a commodity to me. I just pour them out. That's all they are. I use them like a chef uses salt and pepper. A little too much, not quite enough. Mm-hmm. Well, we make up for it.
Well, you supposedly have a lot fewer words than us women have. So I'm
Really?
not sure if that's true for you, Mac, but
No, it's not.
for most guys.
Yeah, my wife's a rather silent girl. Her silence is deafening.
Well, you're
You know what I mean?
on the other side of the ball game then.
Well, no, I have that typical man thing because you're right. I have a nothing box. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Nothing. Well, you
Nothing.
want to do something? No. Well, but you're not doing anything. Well, but I'm doing something. Well, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing.
Exactly.
So you're doing nothing. Yeah, but that's something.
Well, women can't understand that. So hopefully the conference will help women understand that about their guys.
Okay.
And that it's normal
It's normal to have a nothing box.
for a man.
Am I supposed to get rid of the nothing box?
No.
Oh, okay, good. But so by coming to the marriage conference, she'll learn how to accept my nothing box.
Correct.
And I won't have to learn anything about accepting her.
No, that's not true. You have to understand her complications.
I got it. She needs a puppy. She needs the bedroom warmer than I want it. She needs her hair done every couple weeks.
That's true.
And she needs me to hold her when she cry and not try to fix it.
Correct. Good.
And listen when she wants to complain, not be offended.
Exactly.
And
You can teach this conference.
well, only through experience. I don't think I could teach it.
Those of us that have been married longer, we would
Yeah.
do a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, those people who have given up on a marriage, I did after 7 years, my first marriage. I gave up on it because it was unsalvageable. Why was it unsalvageable? Because Christ wasn't in the middle. Mm-hmm. If you put Jesus in the middle of that marriage, it can't fail, right?
That's correct.
That's hard to say sometimes. Mm-hmm. But, there's no greater relationship besides the one between you and Christ than the one between you and your bride. Now, here's something my wife and I disagree on, and we're going to go to our graves disagreeing. I think marriage is permanent and parenting is temporary.
That's a good way to put it.
But my wife-
Many couples who come in believe that their children should come first. When I talk with them in counseling, I say, you know what? No, you got the order out of place.
Good. Will you call my wife and tell her that? Because she's had it wrong for about 38 years.
All right.
But for us, when we figured out that we were going to agree to disagree on that point, and it wasn't going to be a point of contention every single time the marriage and parenting ran into each other, the only way that worked was by putting Jesus in the middle.
Right. You decide to give up your rights for the benefit of your other person.
Right. And then the other person does that, and you end up doing what's best for the relationship rather than for the individual.
Exactly. You got it.
Well, all right. Thanks. After, 20, how long have I been married now? Well, long enough. I figured
Mark
it out.
just says that all in a really funny way that is fun to learn.
Okay. It is a great seminar. Is it like a workbook seminar?
Actually, there's no workbook.
Okay. Small group?
Nope. It's just going to be fun listening. There'll be some role modeling, but other than that, it'll be fun.
All right. You can get tickets at the door.
Yes.
$50 a couple. That's for both days. Now, seriously, let me just lay this out for you. For those of you that just went, $50, that's a tank of gas. Okay. It's 50 divided by 4 because there's 2 of you and there's 2 sessions. So that's $12.50 a session. And if you break that down into hours, since it's only 3 hours, that's about $4.12 a session, an hour. $4.12. You can't do anything for $4.12 an hour except improve your marriage. So I want you to think about it. There are a limited number of seats. We've got tickets to give away. So if you want to win a pair of tickets, I got them here. Please don't call just to win. Please call if you'd like to go to this. Or if you've got somebody in your family, maybe your kids, maybe your parents. Ooh, wouldn't that be bold? Give these to your parents. But we've got tickets, 1-855-244-0077. I'll take your name. I'll give it to Lori, and they will be at Will Call by 6:15 on Friday, May 3rd. That's this Friday. 1-855-244-0077. 1-855-244-0077 if you'd like to go to this conference called Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. Phone lines are open now. By the way, that's with Mark Gungor. If you want to check him out, I'm sure you can YouTube a half a dozen things that he said so you can find out if whether you think he's humorous or he can help you. G as in God. UN as in name. G-O-R. Gungor. G-U-N-G-O-R. Mark. And that's this Friday and Saturday at Point of Grace out in Waukee. Doors open at 6:15 on Friday. You'll go till 10. You'll go home. You'll kiss. You'll hug. You'll be so happy you're together. You'll pray. You'll get up in the morning. You'll kiss. You'll hug. You'll pray again. And you'll come around 8:30 and stay till noon, and you will learn to laugh your way to a better marriage. And if it doesn't help your marriage, then I guess you didn't want it to. Huh?
Come see me.
Come see you. Yeah, come see Lori, who's a marriage counselor. So, all right. Lori, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it as always. And now you are a marriage counselor.
Yes.
I have this impression that the main roadblock to marriage counseling is usually the men,
That's probably true.
more so than the women. What can a woman out there listening or a mother out there listening say to her male son or her male husband to tell them that they're safe in marriage counseling?
Well, I think there is a huge issue of respect, and that is if they come at it from a place of respect and that they want to work on themselves and it's not just there to fix their husbands, that would be the first step.
Okay. So wives also have to step forward with that session of respect.
Yes.
Yeah, boy, those rooms get ugly. I mean, I know because I'm on the other side.
There can be some ugly days.
Yeah, my wife and I, we were never afraid to go to counselors because we thought that was a safe place. We always went to Christ-centered counselors, but boy, there wasn't a lot of Christ in that room for a good hour. You know?
Well, my first session, I always tell them, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Because this is the place we talk about the hard stuff you can't talk about at home.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. All right. I hope to hear from you. Laugh your way to a better marriage this weekend at Point of Grace. Lori, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. When we come back, oh my. Oh my. Was the bombing in Boston a political-based bombing, as the government would like you to believe, or was it a religious-based jihad? It's next, live on The View from a Pew.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wonderscheid.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
We've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. We are back live on this 30th day of November in the Lord's year 2013. We're doing something a little different today. Today is Father Tattoo's birthday. I believe he's 33. No, not 3. 30. I know you think sometimes he's 3 by what he says and how he acts, but he's 33 today. And if you're not a friend of his on Facebook, you should befriend him because he's a master at video production. And he did this little, his last name is Fry. Dan Fry is his actual name. And he did this little thing with McDonald's French fries to introduce that they were about to have a new baby named Mercy Fry. That's the little girl's name. They know it's a girl. And so they did this little thing with different sizes of French fries from McDonald's, and it was really cute. Did you help on that at all, Ryan, or was that all him? That was super production. So anyway, Dan's gone. Bob Montserrat is teaching. Ryan is not accustomed to bantering back and forth with me. Quite frankly, he's smarter than that. So today, it's you and me. So we turned the camera so I don't have to look this way to see that camera and then this way to see my computer screen. And if you noticed, we added the skywalk on the Kaleidoscope Mall behind us. So if somebody comes up behind and goes, eh, which they usually do, they'll be on camera and don't pay attention. So for those of you watching on the web, there may actually be something to see today. Probably not. For those of you listening on the radio, just concentrate on the sound of my voice because we're going to have a serious conversation. And I apologize up front that the opinions of J. Michael McCoy are not necessarily those of KTIA or the Truth Project, Chris Roloff, or anybody else. Over the weekend was the White House press corps dinner. And President Obama gave about a 20-minute speech. And I would highly encourage you to go to YouTube and watch the whole thing. He's a master. I mean, I really like this guy. He makes me want to like him. He draws me in by this humor that is a little arrogant, but I'm okay with a little arrogance because the opposite of arrogance is insecurity. It's not humility. You know that, don't you? The opposite of arrogance is not humility. Humility is in the middle. The definition of being humble is to be teachable. When you're arrogant, you think you know everything and you can teach everybody anything they want because you know it all. And on the other side of that is terribly, I lost my train of thought. Very afraid in life. Very self-conscious of being a failure and of knowing nothing and of not saying the right thing. So in the middle somewhere is humility. So as we talk today about some things, I may say some things that you think sound a little arrogant. If you have been listening to me long enough, you know that for how many years? 40 years, I either played country music or I did political talk. And then when Jesus came and the Hound of Heaven came and bit me on the backside about 3 years ago, I asked God what his will for my life was. And he said, serve. He said, honor God, follow Jesus, and serve others. And if you knew me more than 3 years ago, I did serve others as long as there was something in it for me. The right hand always knew what the left hand did. And I was a godly man, but I was not a man of Christ by any sense of the word, had no relationship with him, had no idea who he was. He was a dead body hanging on a cross called a crucifix in my old church in the Episcopal Church. That's all he was. He was a man who took care of sheep. He was a man that cured the blind. He turned water into wine, so it's okay to drink, right? He said a whole bunch of things that were printed in red in the Bible that my grandmother gave me when I was 7. That's who Jesus was. And when he came along and he decided that it was my time, he asked me to surrender my will, which was my career, which was my marriage, which was my habits, hurts, and hang-ups. Surrender them to the foot of the cross and to him. And he promised me a life that I couldn't even imagine. And the good news is he gave it to me. And I'm so thankful. But every once in a while, the dander on the back of my neck gets up a little bit. And quite frankly, when I have moments when I have no father tattoo, when I have no Bob Montserrat, I have no Brian Leach, I have no Chris Roloff, I have no guest, no Joe Mines, no Dr. Hartwig, and it's just you and me, I kind of cherish that, to be honest with you. I cherish that. I cherish the time that you and I get to just sit down and talk because my lines are open, and I'm not encouraging you to call. I'm just telling you that I'm open to it. I don't really need to sit here and pontificate, but if you don't want to call and agree or disagree, and I'd rather have the ones that disagree. I owned restaurants a long time, and it was nice when people told me my cheeseburgers were good, but I needed to hear when they weren't. So if you don't choose to chime in, and I don't have the chat on, then we're just going to talk a little bit today. And we're going to talk about Mr. Obama, and we're going to talk about Benghazi, and we're going to talk about Planned Parenthood. But the first thing we're going to start with is the White House press corps dinner. Please go back on YouTube and watch the whole thing. Maybe it's 40 minutes. I don't remember. No, it wasn't that long. It was like 20. I just love Obama. I love his attitude. I love his sense of humor. He's so dry. It's that Seinfeld type of humor that we all loved. but he's a great facade. You know, he's like that, and I'm old. So I grew up in the era where we had sleeper cars. Do you remember those? Back in the 50s and 60s, we had these cars that didn't look so nice on the outside. Maybe the paint didn't match. Maybe there was a lot of rust. Maybe it was just an old 4-door Fairlane. But under the hood, where you couldn't see what it was made of, it was nasty. It was powerful. It had more horsepower than a Budweiser drawn beer truck. I mean, it was powerful. And you walked up to the green light and you voomed it. And the guy next to you had glass packs. Remember those? Side pipes, glass packs, Positrax, 4-speed, 351 Cleveland with a 4-barrel. And when you went whoosh whoosh with the right paddle, and it shook the cars. And the guy next to you in the 4-door Fairlane that was painted kind of tan with a little bit of rust and maybe a broken window and a back taillight out covered with red tape. When he went voom, it kind of sounded like a rice grinder. But when the light went green and you romped on the throttle, the little white 4-door Fairlane was gone. It's called a sleeper. That's what I look at Obama as. Only what's under the hood is not good. It's dangerous. It's nasty. Because what he says and what he does are not the same thing. Now, I'm sorry if the little black helicopters need to come in and take me away because I speak ill of the president, then maybe this isn't the country I was born and raised in. But he's a liar, and he knows it. He intentionally tells us what we want to hear. That's called a liar. It's called a salesman. Okay? He tells us what we want to hear, so we buy his products. You ever watch Bonanza or some of those old Western when there's the guy going across the prairie with his wagon and he's selling this snake oil, this magic serum, and he's got examples of people that when they drink it, the sore throat goes away or the hair grows. I mean, all the guy is a great salesman. He didn't come up with anything. He just bottled something that was normal to everybody every day. But he made you believe that if you drank this, you'd be healed. That if you put it on your head, you'd grow hair. And that if you put it on your body, you'd become more muscular and stronger, and it would heal you. So they bought it by the bottle, by the gallon, by the pint, by the truckload. And the placebo sometimes worked because the 5 inches between your ears thought it did work. You may think this government is doing what we need done. You may think healthcare is good for us. You might think that going through this period of time when we cut back on government expenses because neither side could agree is good for us. It's a question. Is that right? Sequester? You might think the new tax bill is good. You might think that taking more from the rich so the less don't have to work as hard. You may think that being on welfare, why not? We're a rich nation. We've got the surplus. We've got the money. Here's my favorite. Well, those Wall Street giants, those oil giants, they're making billions and billions of dollars. Look at it on a percentage basis, would you, sometime? Take a look at the percentage of profit that the Wall Street giants make, that GM makes, that British Petroleum makes. Percentage of profit. It may look like billions, but in the end, it's 1, 2, 3% of profit. Hardly enough to support all the things they do, but President Obama wants you to think that they're rich and they can pay more taxes. Let's go to the phone. We're live. Who's this?
This is Frank.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Pretty good.
Haven't heard from you in a while.
I've been busy.
Too busy for me?
Working. Haven't had time to get to the phone. This attack in Boston is really disturbing me. I guess the fact that I have no confidence that you'll ever get the truth out of Obama on it. Never get the truth out of Benghazi. Never got the truth out of the Fast and Furious program. So I have no confidence at all that the truth is going to be told. But if these reports are true, that our government was flagged twice by the Russians, telling us to watch out for this particular guy, the oldest one, and we ignored this, and this happened under Obama's watch, somebody's feet needs to be held to the fire.
Okay. Why?
Well,
don't we get off in America? Don't we give excuses for people to fail, and we pick them up by the belt strap and move them on down the road and say, you'll do better next time, honey?
Well, yes, but this guy had told us what a failure George Bush was, how he was so much more well-equipped to run this government than George Bush and the previous Republican administrations.
Well, he lied.
He went around by de facto default. He didn't apologize per se, but when he goes and says, well, we're going to start treating the Muslims with respect, the meaning is that they weren't being treated with respect before by the previous administration. So that's a de facto apology in my book. But his policies have failed. We were told before Benghazi that Al-Qaeda's on the run, but yet we got attacked in Benghazi by Al-Qaeda. Or by Al-Qaeda sympathizers, and that can't be known. The truth can't be told about that. So I don't know what hope there is of getting the truth out of this guy. But for our protection in this country, somebody needs to be connecting the dots. We were told our infrastructure of collecting information in this country was broken, and it looks like it's still broken.
All right, Frank, you hang on.
All right.
I'm going to have a short break here. When we get back, we'll have you on and other callers, 1-855-244-0077. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If you haven't heard me say it yet, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on 99.3, this is KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
The only way we come to know the Saviorship of Jesus Christ is by bowing and acknowledging that He is Lord and King over all the earth.
Jesus Christ died on a cross, paid the penalty for our sin, and by repenting of our sin and accepting Him by faith, what He did for us, we are forgiven.
Salvation is not a combination of faith and works. Salvation is by faith alone in God.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
ones in the pew, not pulpit. Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right. 22 before the top, and I'm in the middle of the wilderness. How about that? All right, I think I can do this. Now, Frank and Frankie, I'm going to try to put you on together. And if I lose you, just call me back. But I think if I do this, Frank, are you there? Frankie?
Frankie's here.
All right, hold on. Frank, are you there? Frank?
Yes, we're all here.
All right. I don't think Frank's here. Frank,
Hello?
are you?
Yeah, I heard him. Hello.
All right. So I'm just gonna leave you both on, so then I don't have to switch back and forth. Just don't talk over each other. All right. So Frankie, you hold on just a second. Frank, your position was as we went into the break. What? I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me.
We were told that George Bush was bad because he quit treating terrorism like a police action, like somebody robbed a Quick Trip. And we decided to take preemptive action to disrupt the terror camps, disrupt the money flow, disrupt communications. And, you know, I've been telling Fallon, I've been telling Bradshaw for 4 years now. They've been critical of the Bush policy. I've been telling those guys for 4 years, what are you going to do when we start getting our malls, our train stations, our bus stations, our events that we have in this country bombed? And my main point is we was flagged twice about this Russian guy. Our intelligence agencies didn't pass the information along to one another. They didn't connect the dots, and we got hit. And we're going to get hit again if we don't get our heads out of our collective rears and start understanding that there's people out that want to kill us, and we're going to have to defend ourselves accordingly.
All right, Frankie, where do you sit on that?
Well, the FBI definitely did drop a ball, but we're making it like it was the whole administration. The truth is that both times that they flagged him, the FBI, the CIA passed on the FBI, we need to check into this guy. They said, hey, who's our source? They said the Russians. They wrote back to the Russians, like, can you give us more details? Both times those things came back with no response. I mean, that's a fact. And so then they did their little follow-up. And I think, I don't know if it was you, Mac, or someone said, you know, maybe we should have checked his YouTube page. I mean, I would have seen more. But, you know, they say, like, the whole administration did this. They wrote back to the Russian service and said, give us more details so we have something to go off of. That's a fact.
All right.
They did it both times.
All right. Now, let me just try to unpack this between the two of you. So, Frankie, what you're saying is there was, I don't know, a simple term, failed communications.
Yeah, there was an effort at least.
Connecting the dots is the term that was used in the first terrorism attack. When an agent in Minnesota, a female FBI agent in Minnesota, was given information that a guy wanted to learn how to take a plane off, but not how to land it. And that was flagged, and that was passed on to somebody, but nobody ever connected the dots. I'm not blaming that Obama somehow had personal information of this, but somehow the information is still being blocked, it's still being stovepiped, and the information is not getting from one agency to the other to connect the dots.
All right, Frank, just hold on a minute. Let me do what I want to do here for a second. So, Frankie, what I hear from you is that it's failed communication. The right hand doesn't tell the left hand what it's doing. Well, it's not Obama's fault. It's the way we set up our government, and people simply fail to collaborate or to pass on proper intel.
But it's not acceptable. So I don't want anything I'm saying is acceptable if that happens.
And the result of this is death of innocent Americans on the streets of Boston.
Yes, an 8-year-old little boy.
All right. So when Saddam Hussein rattled his gun and fired it in the air and exclaimed that he had weapons of mass destruction, and our intel went, yeah, maybe. I mean, he's saying so. And our president said, well, he's got weapons of mass destruction. We got to go in there. And then we discover there is no weapons of mass destruction because it was a failure in communication and intel. Can we now see that it is human nature and not the fault of George Bush or the Obama administration? Or we can't be hypocrites here, right, guys?
No, there's a lot more that went into the deceiving of us on that. So, and then they said that they got the orange cake that they were trying to get from Africa, that we supposedly got that information from German and French intelligence, which after Colin Powell went to the UN and said that, both the German and the French said, yo, we didn't say that, we said we had heard some things, but we were not sure. You guys should not have went to the floor and said this. I mean, they said use our deceiving by saying what you just said.
Well, but see, I don't go there, and you've been on the air with me long enough to know. In fact, I think you were on the air when this happened. I don't go there. I don't go to French or German or whatever. I go to Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq, shooting a gun into the air, telling American government, I have weapons of mass destruction and I will use them. That's all I needed.
I don't remember him saying. I remember us thinking he had them because he used them on
his own people.
Yeah, the Kurds. That's where I think that intel first started to come from. But then he never. I don't recall that. So I'm not saying you're a liar. I just don't ever recall him saying I have weapons.
Okay, but the bottom line is it's bad intel, and the left crucified Bush for going into Iraq with bad intel. Can we crucify Obama because American lives were lost on the streets of Boston because of bad intel?
Mac, we've been stuck in a war for... And how many U.S. soldiers have been killed and over a lie, Mac? I mean, this is bad. People not getting the right hand to the left hand, but it wasn't... That was something that we were deceived to go into a war. That's so different.
but here's the problem. We know we've got terrorist cells in this country that has been identified. What hope and what confidence do we have as Americans to trust our government is keeping an eye on these people if we can't keep an eye on this guy up here in Boston?
We do have to look at more into the smaller time. I think they're looking more into the big cells of what they think are people that are planning on things. And this is look, there was this intel. I think that they when you looked at the guy's history, he was trying to make the U.S. boxing team. I could see where they might say, maybe we're getting our lines crossed, but they still should be looking at him. But it's not comparable to starting a war for deceiving. That's come on. It's not. See, it's not apples or oranges, Mac. It's the truth. We were deceived. I mean, even Colin Powell is, at the end was like, maybe I shouldn't have made that speech.
Okay, well, I understand. Maybe I had the wrong intel. Maybe human lives were lost. Is 100 human lives worth more than one human life?
Okay, but you got to deal with reality as you find it, not how you want reality to be. Reality is we're at war. We're at war with radical jihad, radical Muslims, whatever you want to call it. And we allow so many Muslim young men into this country per year on student visas. Now, I'm not calling for internment camps like we done to the Japanese during World War II. But we definitely should turn off the spigot for some period of time. Even liberal commentator Bob Beckel has suggested we take a 2-year hiatus on letting any men from Muslim countries and maybe even Chinese who are coming over and getting our education in our colleges and universities and then going home and hacking us. So we're going to have to start getting serious about this and quit blaming George Bush for starting something. We're in it. It don't make no difference who started it. We're in it. And if you want to keep seeing people getting their legs blown off, keep hiding your head in the sand.
Well, and the Obama administration has got to get off this kick that there has been no terrorist attacks on the United States.
Nidal Hassan was a terrorist attack.
Yeah, Benghazi. They've got to get over this.
The underwear bomber was an attempted terrorist attack. The Times Square attempted bomb was a terrorist attack. I mean, the fact that it didn't happen didn't mean there wasn't an attack planned.
So what's the middle ground here, guys? We're going to go into break, and I'll leave you both on if you can stay on. We're going to go into the break, and then I'll bring you both back because you've got a far right and a far left guy here who I respect both of them very much. I mean, I know what my common ground is. You're not going to like my common ground. My common ground is Jesus. It's the only place I have to go. It's greater than me, that knows the truth, that tells me what to do. But I'm not going to find that common ground with these two, so what do we do as a country? We'll be back live here on The View from a Pew on KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
We've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
10 before the top on this, the 30th day of April in the Lord's year 2013. Tomorrow, May 1, May Day. Growing up in Beatrice, Nebraska, my mother and I and sister would make May baskets filled with those little candy corns and Jolly Ranchers and things like that. There were no small candy bars back then. There were no small boxes of Milk Duds. There were small candies. There were jelly beans. There were baked Boston baked beans. And we'd put those in a little May basket, and you'd run up to the house, ring the doorbell, put the basket down, and run away. Or maybe you'd run up to the door, put the basket down, ring the doorbell, and then run away. And that was May Day. And I've heard from way too many people that apparently was a Nebraska thing because they had never heard of it. But anyway, happy May Day. And isn't it something else, Ryan? Isn't the 1st of May something else? Isn't it like something besides May Day? You don't know. That's okay. I don't know either. Frank, are you still there?
Yeah.
All right.
May is morel mushroom time.
Okay, there you go. All right, let's, if little Frankie had to leave us.
Okay.
Let's move on for a minute to Obama blessing Planned Parenthood.
Oh, yeah.
It was an extraordinary act of Obama becoming the first sitting president to address the destroyer of unborn children at its national convention. As you remember, it was shocking that Obama would do so while Kermit Gonsell stands trial. But I want to go back to the Obama speeches. It was highlighted two important aspects of this debate. Now, you know who Kermit Gonsell is, right?
Yeah, I've painfully become aware of him, yeah.
All right. He built his clinic in the middle of the mostly African-American community. His targets are mostly unborn minority babies. He treats black women like they are cattle. His staff numbers have testified that women were often put on tables, covered with sheets, still soiled with blood from the previous abortions. When people complained, he said that's the way of the world. He's a black man who hates babies and practiced racism in his own private mill. So standing there before Planned Parenthood this year, Obama had the perfect opportunity to denounce a man like Gonsell. What was he charged with? 6 counts of murder, and there's 4 of them still standing?
I don't know. I haven't heard all the details on it. But the thing that puzzles me and bothers me is this idea that once you botch an operation, once you botch an abortion, and the child is somehow survived that botched attempt to take its life, why that child is refused medical care. And Obama supports that. And that is just freaking barbaric.
Yeah, and if you don't believe Obama supports that, there was a bill in the Illinois House that would save or protect an unborn baby's life if it was aborted but lived, and Obama was the only senator in Illinois that voted against it.
If some immigrant can happen to somehow anchor themselves to this country and get ashore for political asylum, we can't send them back if they can reach this shore. We'll give them the rights of somebody in this country if they can reach our shores. But yet a child comes into this life through a botched abortion and survives, we can't give that child medical care. This is ridiculous.
How does that happen?
Because Satan is running this country. Satan is running people's minds. Satan is running, sadly to say, I think the Democratic Party sometimes.
All right, now for those of you that just heard Frank say that, I just because I just saw little Frankie somewhere yelling at the radio and throwing something at it.
It doesn't believe in Satan.
That's Satan, right? And those who don't believe in God cannot believe in Satan. I will agree with you there.
Well, 50% of professed Christians don't believe in Satan.
Well, I don't know how that is. They're not going to the same church that I'm going to. But understand that what Frank said just now is exactly right. Because there's goodness and love, grace and mercy, tolerance and forgiveness, or there's hatred, destruction.
Well, the problem of it is, Mac, though, is the Holy Spirit reigns on us all. So it's hard to tell black and white. Everything seems to come up shades of gray. So that side doesn't look exactly right. It doesn't look exactly wrong because the Holy Spirit reigns on all of us. The Holy Spirit rains mercy on the wicked as well as it does the righteous. So, you can't necessarily call something, oh, that's clearly wrong, that's clearly, that's clearly right. So this is where the confusion comes in.
Well, but here's where it goes off track for me. And I've never had a liberal been able to explain this to me. It stops them speechless. If a baby is inside a mother on its way to Planned Parenthood and a block before it gets there is T-boned by another vehicle and that baby dies, in our government, it's perceived that is a case of manslaughter, that a man has been slaughtered.
What if a woman on her way to the abortion mill is somehow stopped by a man on the sidewalk, and in a little ruckus gets shoved down, and the child is miscarried? Do you think that guy's going to go charge-free?
No.
He was intending to go kill the child. But if somebody caused that, then he's going to be charged with something.
But she gets a block farther and pays $200, and a baby, as this woman lays on this bed.
And Gosnell gets to do his handiwork.
She gets to hear the bones of her unborn baby being crushed and sucked out of her womb. That's a choice.
That's choice.
And it's not manslaughter.
No.
Somebody on the left explain that to me, because you can't.
They won't, because they're going to sit silent, just like the feminists are sitting silent while Scott Peterson is up serving in Pelican Bay for killing 2 people, when in their eyes he only killed a woman in an unviable tissue mass.
Right.
And they won't go up and protest that because they know that would defeat their cause. So they sit silent like a bump on a log.
I just ask, and Frank, thanks very much for being with me today. I just ask you, and I'm afraid I'm preaching to the choir here. It's a Christian radio station. Most of us feel the same way, but some of you don't. And so I want you to email me. I want you to Facebook me. It doesn't have to be public and be private. You can call me on the phone. I just want you to tell me how that works in your mind. How that all settles down to right and fair. How does that say that's the best humanity can do? To take care of the widows and the unborn and the orphaned and the women and the men and the babies and the sheep. How? I'll see you again next Monday for our first Restoring Hope Live with Powell Treatment Center here in Des Moines, co-starring Lila Stafford. Reich Places is here with us for the next 2 days. Until I see you again, especially on this issue of the unborn, because if you think we can't beat this, you're wrong. Get out of my way, because I'm coming through. We can beat this. Maybe in my lifetime, there will be a day when the conscience of America says, oh my God, Hitler killed the Jews and we killed the unborn. What's the difference? What's the difference? So between now and then, just do me a favor. Would you? Just pray.